Sharif as Secretary General of the NDP, that is the ruling party. Your thoughts on that, and also this which I've just seen. Gamal Mubarak, it's written as Jamal, but I think it's Gamal, the son of the president, no longer head of the policy committee in the NDP. What are your thoughts?
Well, the response of the regime has been basically after incredible levels of repression, central security forces, and releasing criminals from prisons and hoping to create a situation of chaotic violence, trying to provoke pro-democracy peaceful protesters by any means, hoping this situation ends into violence. All this failed, and now they're engaging in a campaign of scapegoating their own men, like Mubarak's own men. Safwat al-Sharif was his man. Habib al-Adli, the interior minister, was also basically his guard dog, if you wish. And all of them now are being sacrificed one after the other. All of them have a notorious reputation on the streets, and he's engaging in doing that, in trying to accommodate the street or the Egyptians in Tahrir Square by sacrificing his own men. Obviously, this can send the wrong signals for his supporters right now, because it tells them that once there is too much threat against Mubarak, he will sacrifice them one by one. This may be linked a bit to what the army is doing right now, because I don't think the army would be very happy to be sacrificed, or if some of its generals were sacrificed in this scapegoating campaign. Obviously, many of them, like Al-Adli, for example, they have many accusations against them. It can be proven how much repression they ordered, but they're not partly responsible. They're only partly responsible. They would not do any of these violent acts without the permission of Mubarak.
I don't know whether we're getting more on this or whether, in fact, it's exactly the same thing just being repeated, but let me feed you a line that I've got here. Top leadership of Mubarak's ruling party resigns. Other than Safwat al-Sharif getting kicked out as Secretary General of the NDP and Gamal Mubarak losing his position, if we hear that state TV selling the top leadership has gone, are there any more?
There is more, obviously. I don't possibly Zakaria Azmi, who is the head of the secretariat of the president, although he's not directly involved with domestic affairs, but he's seen as a symbol of corruption in Egypt, so he might be sacrificed. He already sacrificed Ahmed Izz, the leading NDP/businessman. Possibly.
Let me stop you there, because you may learn a little bit more, and so may I, when we talk to one of our correspondents who's been looking into this. I know you haven't had very long to find out more about it, but is it more than just the two people we've spoken about, the Secretary General and Gamal Mubarak getting booted out of the NDP?
The information reaching me from a reliable source says that the entire policy committee of the NDP have all resigned. That is, including Gamal Mubarak, and also, as you've already reported, the Speaker of the Parliament, Sharif. So this is an indication, it would appear, that there's very much a hardening of the army stance going on. And the situation in the square, although it's been relatively calm today, the very good mood in the morning Saturday amongst demonstrators, dancing and celebrating and insistent that this will continue, and also announcing recently that on Sunday there will be a Christian mass to show that the whole basis of the secular aspect to this ongoing demonstration, day 12. And also, another development, the head of the Central Command of the Army came into the square, and it wasn't in any way a violent situation. It was a calm explanation from the commander that he felt the time was now for protesters to wind down this demonstration and to start leaving in an orderly manner. Now,
and in fact, as you talk about this, we're seeing the pictures of this on the right-hand side of our screen, and it looks a rather uncomfortable situation for a moment.
Well, there's a very large question mark looming over the square now, because The army, of course, has been in the middle of this and has protected both sides. And of course, the rumours and the murmurings are dangerous. The murmurings now are suggesting that there could be a move in the army to take a side, to actually get a firmer grip on the situation and to try to get back to business. Well, that's something of an understatement. Of course, the speculation
I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to stop you there simply because we've got somebody who's down on the square who saw what happened with this head of Central Command. This is Sabah Hamamu, a journalist who left the square. And you can tell us exactly what the atmosphere was like as this senior army commander came in and then had to leave rapidly. Sana Hamamu, I wonder if you can hear me. Okay, we have one other person on the line, Hassan Nafea. Hassan Nafea, I wonder if you can hear me.
I can hear you this time.
Let me explain that you are from the National Association for Change. That is the party that is being fronted up at the...
former general coordinator of the National Association for Change.
And if you are the former national coordinator, does that mean that you've simply retired from the job, or you quit because you didn't think things were going the way you wanted?
Yeah, I quit because I saw that things were was not going the way I wanted it to go.
In what direction was it going?
This is not. Are we on air now?
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't say that. It's all a bit confusing here, but Professor, yes, we are on air at the moment. David Foster talking to you.
Yes, but I think it is not the moment right now to talk about the differences between me and Dr. El-Baradi when I was the former coordinator of the National Association for Change. What is important right now is to coalesce together to get rid of this regime. This is what I am trying to do, and I don't want to think about any division in the opposition. I don't see any serious willingness to negotiate with the opposition. What we need is to have a transitional period to establish or to make the foundation of a democratic regime. This is what.
Well, I'm going to give you the opportunity to address a couple of the points that we've been talking about. But in a moment, I would like to ask you about divisions within the party, because or the alliance, because I think it's important. First of all, let me ask you about the news from state television that the top leadership of the NDP has resigned. Gamal Mubarak no longer part of it. There's a new Secretary General, name of Hossan Badrawi, and El Sharif is no longer the Secretary General. What do you make of this? It's a night of the long knives.
Yes, I welcome this change. I know Hossan Badrawi myself, and he is a nice man. He is a liberal one, and this is a welcome change. But this is a change inside the regime that is collapsing. So it is not very important, and I am not going to have confidence in the National Democratic Party because some people were changed and some more nice people came and stepped in. The issue is the National Democratic Party cannot manage the transitional period, and the men of the regime cannot run the transitional period. What we need to do is to form an independent government and a representative government as to be able to really pave the way for a democratic regime and to write a new constitution. This is what we are talking about. This is what we are aiming for. And any change inside the regime, we are not very much concerned about it. It is the internal affair of a regime that has collapsed and is not in any way legitimate now.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Since you've been involved in the movement for change, the National Association for Change, and whether you're involved in that directly now, but you're still involved in a movement for change, is there a sense among those of you fighting for major shift in the way Egypt is run that Mubarak could remain for now, since he said he's going in September? Because at the moment there's a stalemate and it doesn't appear that anybody's getting anywhere.
But what he will be doing from now to September, this is very important if he keeps all the power in his hand. Because as you know, the vice president has no power in our constitution. According to our constitution, the vice president has no power whatsoever. He can do the job that the president asked him to do. But otherwise,